Skinner. Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with the cockerel, Alun Cochrane. I can't reach the jingle from here.
Oh,
and
right.
I can't reach the jingle from here. Wouldn't be a bad autobiography title.
Well, that's because you've got your constricting cadfile hoodie on.
That's true. And you can tell by that slightly catty remark that Emily has returned as well.
Hi.
Jesse's back.
Already fashion is in the air. There's been a comment on my clothing. So, yeah, if you want to text us about anything at all, what might it be that you'd wanted to text us about? The rise of the house brick in medieval England. You can text us on 8 12 15.
That is the sort of stuff we can get drawn into, isn't it?
It is. I hope so. I don't know where they came, because there was the sort of was it Wattle and Daub in the early days?
Yes.
Oh.
What a double act they were. I saw them at the Wood Green Empire 1956. God, they were funny.
Our Keith was a big fan of theirs.
Oh yeah, massive. So so we're here.
Well,
we're
you
settled.
boys have been busy this week. I've been watching you both.
We've been doing that thing. You see, when I'm on this show, I'm very wary of talking about my television activities. I always feel a bit like... I think
Not every week, though.
I know, but it's... I tell you what it's like. It's like being a philosophy student who does lap dancing in the evenings.
Right.
Is that this, to me, seems like a very respectable pastime, being on the radio. There's something squalid about being on television. Something about, hey, look at me.
Yes.
Oh, you say that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously you can embrace that as a lifestyle, but I still struggle with it. But this week, I have a show on BBC Two called Opinionated, and one of my guests was the cockerel this week, in case you didn't see it, who I never referred to as the cockerel at any point in the conversation.
Noted.
I felt it was a bit like being introduced to... You know what, when you're at work, say, and you're having an affair with... There'll be lots of people in this situation listening.
Trying desperately not to nod at the radio.
Yeah, there'll be people listening with their partners who are in this situation. And, you know, I don't want to... You know you are. And your partner suspect who you are. But you know when you're at work and you're having the affair, but the person has to be just like they're just another person, so you behave in a very casual, like you don't know them that well kind of manner. That's what me and the cockerel were like on television.
Yes.
We were friendly, but we weren't over familiar. I certainly never referred to the poultry aspect of his nickname.
Yeah.
I was very proud of you both.
Oh.
I felt like a yummy mummy at the school gates.
Oh.
Oh, so did I, actually. When I was at the school gates the other day, but I thought it would cause too much of a kerfuffle. Yeah, it was nice to have Alan on. He had a better dressing room than me.
I did. Do you know what?
How did that happen?
Well, Marcy, the woman who was doing the clothes, said...
Wardrobe, we call them, dear, in television.
Yeah.
Not the woman who's doing the clothes. Sounds like we have someone to do the washing.
That's my title.
Yeah. No, she came in to talk to me about my shirts and said, "Oh,
can I note the plural there?"
Yeah, I brought several because of strobing. You know that it's difficult to get something right. Anyway, she said, have you got somewhere to hang them? And she looked and saw that there was a bar in the room.
You had a bar in your room?
I wish. Clothes hanging bar. And she went, oh, your dressing room's better than Frank's. His hasn't got anywhere to hang clothes.
There was literally... Mine was 4 blank walls. She came in with my suit for the show, and she had to lay it across a chair.
But see, what's happening when the guy whose name is in the show title has got a worse dressing room than the hired puppet for a night?
Well, I wouldn't want to call you that for 1 second. And also, you were there for kind of a slightly controversial moment on the show. Well, yeah, there was the one moment when it went a bit radio show, I thought, was when I called a spontaneous phone-in, which I've never done on the show before. I think it's because you were there. Because there aren't that many phone-ins on telly on that time of the night. You know, it's very much the right stuff kind of a thing. But we were talking, the subject of proposals came up. I have to handle this very carefully. And we were talking about going down on one knee.
Yes.
As a proposal. And I asked if dwarves did that. And I said, as it, Thursday night is dwarf night on BBC Two. And then I said, and this was... I didn't mean any harm in this at all. I just said, do dwarves have knees? I mean, it just came to me in a flash. And then I said, that's this week's phone-in, which is exactly what I'd do on the radio show. But then after I thought, of course they do. But, at the time, the pressure was on. Anyway, I got told off, and it didn't go out.
You got telling off?
Yeah, and it was cut. Probably for the best, because when I look back on it, it looked a bit more unkind than I meant it. To me, it was a genuine scientific inquiry.
It's not like it's a controversial topic at the moment that's getting people in trouble, so I wouldn't worry about it.
No, but that was my whole point was in the context, the satirical context of following a show that everyone's talking about, with a show that no one's talking about. I thought I'd set myself as a poor relation. But anyway, that didn't go out, so I'm all right. Unfortunately... Anyway,
you broadcast it now.
Yeah, but I don't think I would have said the phone-in bit if you hadn't been there. It put me in slight radio mode. But I don't know about you, but I'm happier here.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm just generally.
He's not sure.
When you're worried about strobing shirts, how can you be funny?
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about that.
No, not this morning.
No.
We should explain what strobing is. But we're not going to.
Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner.
Frank, we've heard from the outside world already.
Beautiful. On 8-12-15?
Well, actually, no. Technically, it was an email.
Okay.
But people can text it on 8-12-15.
You're
Thanks
so
for the
right.
reminder. Frank, it's about a toast sandwich. It's from Simon, and it's really the cockerel, really. He says, Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, knowing that Alan has a keen eye for all things frugal...
He does. I call him Frugal Sharky.
Yeah, because I'm also quite predatory, aren't I?
Yeah, exactly.
Has he seen that the cheapest meal, according to the Royal Society of Chemistry, is a toast sandwich, which is a slice of toast between two slices of bread? There is apparently a prize of £200 for anyone who can come up with a cheaper meal, and I wondered if he'd be up for the challenge. Regards, Simon.
Yes, 200 quid, straight to me. Bogies. They're free, it's a replenishable sauce.
Oh, cockerel.
200, where's the cheque? Send it.
I've got a cheaper one. What about a piece of toast?
Yeah.
One piece of toast.
Well, then you don't need the bits of bread around it. I've already saved on two slices of bread. They can be toasted later and used for another 2 meals.
Is it a really weird pointed difference between snack and meal? They're saying, this is a meal, a toast sandwich.
So.
Whereas toast, presumably, is just a
I think
snack.
it's a meal. I think it's a dinner for two for the Olsen twins.
You see, you probably assume that I'm a bit of a high-maintenance princess when it comes to food.
Hold on, just run that by me again.
I don't think assume. I think we've got some empirical evidence there.
But you might be wrong, au contraire. Because the other night, Frank, I had for my dinner 4 small falafel balls.
Yeah, but isn't that because you're on a sort of mad diet? Actually, I think there's carbs in those, isn't there?
There were carbs.
Did your alarm go off?
No, the carb alarm was silent. I must get it seen to, actually.
Isn't falafel one of those things we think is healthy, but isn't that?
Yes, I suspect you're right. But 4, that's pretty good. Because that's, let's say, $3.99 a packet. We're probably working out about 40p a falafel ball.
How did as the surfing suggestion goes, how did you serve 4 falafel balls on a plate?
Just on the plate.
In a row? Forming a circle?
No, they were sort of
piled.
Moving about a bit like it was a bowling alley. It was hard. I couldn't get any purchase.
A sort of bagatelle approach.
Yeah, you need more of a...
Yeah.
Did you use a spoon or a fork? I'm interested if I was to
I used a finger. Finger and thumb.
Yeah,
but no, it was a Spartan meal, but I enjoyed it immensely. And I quite like that. I'm proud of my cheapness.
Yeah, I had this bread sandwich, toast sandwich. I don't know why they didn't just have a boiled egg and a bit of toast. That would have been cheap, wouldn't it?
Would it have been cheaper than a slice? No, I don't
cheaper.
Oh, well, they're after the cheapest. It's a record attempt.
They've gone so cheap. There's no nutrients in there. At least with a boiled egg, there's a bit of protein.
I must say, it's quite carbs heavy.
It's very carb.
It reminds me of when I used to have mashed potato sandwiches. That was quite carbs heavy, looking back. Dr. Atkins would have thrown himself out of a 6th floor window if he'd seen that. He's dead, is he, Dr. Atkins?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
What killed him?
He got fat and he died on a run, I think.
You're joking.
No, I don't think...
Dr. Atkins got fat.
I don't think you can ever suggest that he died as a result of the diet.
Oh, no, we'll be sued by the Atkins diet.
I wasn't doing. I was saying that he got fat.
Can I say the Atkins diet is really, really good for you, and we really recommend it. It's great not eating any carbs at all, so you can look thin and smell.
But then you binge on a toast sandwich
you do.
when you fall off.
When my dad was in his periods of unemployment, we used to live on tomato ketchup sandwiches.
Nice.
Did you?
Yeah, they were all right. I often think the food I eat is little more than a vehicle for pickle anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
I tend to start with the pickle and think, what am I going to put under it? You know what I mean? Oh, I just fancy some piccalilli. What's it going to travel on its way to my mouth? That's the way I think of it. If anyone's got a suggestion for a cheaper meal than the toast sandwich, I'd love to hear it. Maybe we'll even try it this morning. What about that? I always think one of my great inventions was I used to have cheese sandwich with Brussels sprouts on. So the Brussels sprouts slightly melt the cheese.
Oh,
what, hot Brussels sprouts?
Hot Brussels sprouts, yeah.
Nice.
Not not overdone, but they were. It was a lumpy sandwich.
Sounds like a Boxing Day sandwich to me.
Yeah, it was a very lumpy sandwich. Biting through it was not dissimilar to what I imagined biting through Kermit's head would be like. I'm guessing.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
Well, we've had some messages in from from the people from 8, 12, 15, and we were asking for cheaper meals suggestions.
We're after the cheap. Well, I can't remember it is there, but some chemical institute are trying to find the cheapest possible
Royal
meal.
Society of Chemists, because I thought it was a bit weird because it abbreviates to the RSC. I was thinking,
confusing.
And they said
surely
it's
the
a
Royal
toast
Shakespeare
sandwich.
Company can get a better sandwich than a
I've
toast
gone
one.
for 4 falafel balls.
You went for 4 falafel balls, but that's a different phone-in. And we had to... Why not just nick a pot noodle that costs nothing from Mick in Reading, but he needs to realise there's no such thing as a victimless crime.
Indeed.
Cheapest sandwich.
Could you have 4 falafel balls in the form of a Newton's cradle?
Is that like a science thing?
You know that thing that you let go and it clicks and then the other one shoots out? You could have the 4 I think it represents... doesn't it represent Isaac Newton's theory of perpetual motion?
It might do.
Yeah. Well, let's try it. You wouldn't get the nice clicking that you get with the metal ones. I imagine falafel against falafel is...
Yeah.
Be like that, but I'd be happy
I'd like
with
to
that.
creep into a businessman's office and do that.
I'd like to creep into a businessman's office anyway. I wouldn't actually, because as you know, nothing makes me more anxious than those things from film.
What are the other text-ins? I can't read them because my computer's broken.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
My favourite is the cheapest sandwich is the prairie sandwich, bread and butter with wide open spaces in between. From Anthony, nice.
I haven't had a bread and butter sandwich for a long time.
It's
just
nice,
on its
isn't
own.
it? Whilst in a period of unemployment, I lived on rice and gravy. For variety, I changed between chicken and beef flavour gravy. That's not me, that's 939, Simon. Yeah.
Rice and gravy, I could live with that, I think.
Beans on toast, somebody's suggesting. That's cheap, but it's probably not as cheap as 3 bits of bread, is it?
If you buy My Mum's Beans or something like that, one of those brands...
Well, they are suggesting a very cheap supermarket.
Can you still get My Mum's Cola?
I don't know.
Do you remember that?
This is what Peter Kay became famous mocking, isn't it? Roller Cola, when he used to do...
And Panda Cola you used to be able to get as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was for children that were made to wait outside the pub when their parents were inside.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was
Oh,
one of
that's
those
broken
children
Britain.
sometimes with my grandpa.
Okay. I've spent much of this week, I must say, watching, and I'm going to own up to this, watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Indeed.
Love it.
On the subject of eating things that may be disgusting.
Yeah. And I am. It's, Freddie Starr. You know, Freddie Starr got so ill that he had to go home.
Was it as a result of the Bush Tucker trial?
Well, they said he had a severe allergic reaction, and then a spokesman for the show said he probably just brushed against some leaves in the jungle, or he leaned on some bark that he's reacted to. And I thought, hold on, you just made him eat a pig's bottom and some other things I don't feel I can even mention on the radio. And you think he might have leaned against some bark to make him... He famously ate a hamster, of course, Freddie, but I don't know if you've seen him on this show. He looks like he might have also ate the family who owned it and the semi-detached house that they lived in.
He's packing some pounds.
Wow!
Really, is he a big machine? He's a big unit now, is he? I've only seen him in pictures, but I do like the idea that he ate the... is it like the greasy spoon or something that they had? They called it a massive meal. And he just shovelled the whole lot down.
He did, but in an incredible, arrogant way.
Yeah.
And he said of the other guy who's from the Only Ways Essex, he said, he put spray tan cream on his face. He had no chance. 20 minutes later, he's in hospital.
I feel a bit like that at one of those all-you-can-eat buffets. I feel like that's how I'd be going at it.
But it was... he was horrible.
Freddie Starr.
Fabulously horrible.
He was.
Really,
it's a shame he's gone.
It is. I'll miss him.
Willie Carson as well. I think he could deliver.
Yes.
How are you finding him? Yes.
They do liver.
He has very pert breasts, I've noticed.
Willie Carson.
I thought he could do with a bit of a hoist up.
Most people are looking at this woman from The Real Hustle, but I can't take my eyes off Willie Carson. They have that cute, like, French 60s actress kind of look to them.
What's he wearing under that?
Oh, I tell you, but they aggravate a T-shirt. Big time. Yeah. That's... he really is something else. And he's still got... there's a bit where they had to sit on this thing, and Willie's tiny legs, his tiny white sort of...
Oh, he's small,
like
isn't he?
doll's legs hanging down. Oh, man, it was... He's my favourite, as Bruce would say.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
Frank, could we talk briefly about Stephanie Power's hair? Have you seen it on I'm a Celebrity?
I'm quite partial to
Are
that.
you?
Yeah,
She washed it. She went in and it was reasonably straight, wasn't it? And then she washed it and it's gone mental, Cockerel.
Has it?
Yeah.
Well, her general look, because she's off the mic, she's got this... it's a sort of gin-ravaged Victorian prostitute look. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Or maybe earlier, maybe sort of Newgate prison whore. I can't make my mind up.
I think more Stephen King's It. I think there's a bit of that going on.
Stephen King's It?
Yes.
We sound like we're playing a game of literary tick.
It does feel like that.
Stephen King's It. Watch out for him.
She needs serum.
Is she allowed a luxury item in there where she can pop a bit of wax in or some mousse or something?
They had luxury items the other day. That one for them by Sunita and Radio's Pat Sharp.
Oh, I remember Pat Sharp from Funhouse.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
And they had... is that swingers club you used to go to?
Oh, yeah.
They had rubbish luxury items. Yeah, Anthony Cotton from Coronation Street had a pillow with some writing on it.
Now, he's going to turn, Anthony Cotton.
He's already turned.
He's going to turn.
He was is he? I doubt it, no, not now.
I think that news is out, isn't it?
He was a much-loved... he was borderline... soap, in the world of soap, borderline national treasure. Mm-hmm. And now he's becoming a monstrous character. Oh, man, he's really... I think he could be the first person on that show to kill somebody. He's really... He's on an edge already.
Is that a bush tucker trial?
Well, it's going to be great to watch, I think.
He's got a bit of a nasty streak.
Oh, God.
Has he?
Oh, yeah. Which makes me warm to him. Frank, we've had some emails in this week. Do you remember recently we were talking about TV programmes that have been commissioned solely on the basis of the fact that they sound like a good title?
Yeah, we have no evidence for this, but I often thought, and the team agree, that sometimes you see a TV show and you think this was only made because the title is a good, like, pun. The example I used was Winton Wonderland.
Yeah.
And last week,
Dale Winton.
Aid in Britain was...
Aid in Britain, yeah.
Kicked it on
Very
further.
Good.
Exactly.
Well, we've had a few suggestions, and one is from Bob Large. I rather like the sound of him.
Bob Large is, yeah.
He himself could host a programme about the death of Robert Maxwell, couldn't he?
Yeah. Is that because he was called Bob, or is it because when he went overboard he bobbed large?
That's what I meant,
yeah. Just trying to work.
He has some fine suggestions. He has Burton-on-Trent. Tim Burton interviews Terence Trent D'Arby.
Oh, I'd love that.
Hold on. if I remember rightly, Terence Trent D'Arby is now called Sananda Maitreya.
Is that right?
So that's going to be, that's not going to work, is
love
it?
that you know that
Tim
now.
Burton on Sananda Maitreya. What they really need is to ditch Tim Burton and get Samanda, the twins from Big Brother. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Then it could be Samanda and Sananda.
Oh, very good, Frank.
Yeah, God, if they could get some sort of show in which they erected verandas, it could be one of the great titles ever.
Bob Large. I'm sure I must have run into Bob Large at a Birmingham nightclub, Flares or something. Bob Large has also suggested Curtis Steiger's Circus Tigers.
Nice.
A documentary about singer Curtis Steigers, who now runs a rescue centre for big cats from Big Tops.
That is good, I like that.
Oh, I've often thought about doing a bit of lion taming or something of that nature. All you need's a chair. It looks easy.
Oh, you need a Pete Doherty coat, don't you, as well?
Pete Doherty. Did you see that Pete Doherty had fled to Paris this week because he said he was being haunted by the ghost of Amy Winehouse?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, apparently his friends say, honestly, that's what he believes. Apparently he has a voice like, coming out the radio and weird stuff like that.
Yeah, that would happen, wouldn't it?
But I'm not saying that he's induced this on himself in any way, but it's a strange old tale.
Frank,
any other...
Yeah, we've got a couple more TV programme suggestions. We've got Deansgate Locks. Emily goes around the pubs and bars of Manchester's prominent nightlife area inspecting the security systems of each establishment.
No, is this local telly? This is just on in the northwest, is it?
That'd be fantastic.
Now, this is a rather obscure one, Frank. Emily and Ivory. Emily interviews David Baddiel's brother on various subjects in which he's interested. Emily discovers that she has the same interests, thus ensuring perfect harmony between them.
I should say that David Baddiel's brother is called Ivor.
Yeah, hence Emily and Ivory.
Surely they'd have got that.
Well, I don't know. He's not. I think he has national fame.
Mm-hmm. We share a trainer.
Do you? God, times are hard.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
I've had a bit of an altercation this week.
Oh, good.
Well, you love my altercations, don't you?
Well, I do.
It was hairdresser-based.
I wonder if you could turn up these corduroy trousers for me. Oh, sorry, altercations. Sorry, these headphones are...
It was hairdresser-based.
Mm?
I have no gripe with my blow-dryer. I'm very happy with his work.
Okay.
It was to
Hold on, he's a separate person from the cotton person.
Very much so, yeah.
Wow.
I have a whole team, but...
Well, sort of Jensen Button approach.
Yeah, everyone's got their individual role.
Somewhat a different person operates the hairdryer to the man who cuts the hair.
Sometimes, no, because the man who cuts the hair is very important and busy. He might not have time for a blow-dry. So I'll elect to have a lesser mortal doing it. Anyway...
I know what you mean. Sometimes, on the rare occasions, because in the £9 barbers, I don't have it washed. They just cut it. But when I have had it washed, I had my hair cut at the BBC recently. So a young woman took me to one side, and you lean back. You know that horrible sink with the sort of U-shaped gap that you lean back into.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I can't relax. I hate having people wash my hair.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I'm always waiting for the karate chop across the throat. Because I know if I was doing that, I would so not be able to resist him.
Yeah, you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Especially the female throat, not in any misogynist way.
Frank,
No.
that's Sweeney Todd.
No, but with the male throat, you have to make that choice. Am I going to go above Adam's apple or below? But with the female, it's a lovely, clean shot.
It's
of the
a
karate
wide
chop.
open plane for you.
Anyway.
So someone's sitting opposite me, a female. I can tell by the shoes. Well, I say that, but they were a little bit history teacher.
When you say sitting opposite...
Yes. So how it is, Frank, if you're in the hairdresser and I'm facing a mirror and she's facing a mirror, do you understand? So the mirror's... So I can't see her face. I can't see her head. I can just see her shoes under the table.
God,
So it's almost like you work in a call centre.
Exactly.
So
and
the mirror's not on the
separate.
wall?
No,
the mirror...
What do you need? Exactly. The mirror is facing me and she's also got one facing her.
Ruined Snow White. Mirror on the raised partition in the centre of the room. I mean, the whole thing wouldn't have scanned. Okay, so she's kicking you under the table.
No, so what's happened is she's got little black shoes on, and she's swinging them forward quite violently.
Really?
Actually, yeah. She's telling a story and she's getting excited.
Oh, sounds to me like she was being strangled.
Yeah.
And she's swinging them forward quite violently.
Right.
Well, I won't have that. She made contact eventually. I knew it would happen eventually. And
she kicked you?
No, she didn't mean to make contact, but I did when I retaliated. And I thought, I've had enough. So I let it go, I thought, and then I gave her a little cease and desist kick, little tap.
Okay.
So she'd
just a warning?
Yeah, little warning, Frank.
Like the rap of the knuckles on the dog's snout. You know that one?
Like a don't touch his dish.
Yeah.
So she stopped. She did cease. I'm afraid she started again. The war of terror began again. And
Was
this
she
time...
again mid-anecdote? She was telling a
she got
story.
excited again. Started kicking me again.
She told her, was it someone from Strictly Come Dancing? Because all her anecdotes involve quite a lot of foot movement. I'm surprised you didn't stand up and look over the top. Could one... Is it that kind of partition you could look up over the top?
No, I was just too... I quite liked the anonymity because it was all solely feet-based and I never saw her face. And it became very ugly under that table.
I bet.
I kicked back again. I kicked back at her again.
What kind of footwear did you have on?
I had high heels. I had
Killer
boot
heels.
hands. Yeah, killer
So
heels.
you were always going to kill her.
Who do you think won?
Yeah.
It's a tense business, eh?
It was. But I like that I never saw her, Frank.
You see, in Mr. Toppers, they're all young clobber types. So every time I get there, they say, "So, what are you doing this weekend?" And of course, I'm never doing anything to talk about. And they're all on about their club weekends, and I'm saying, I'm thinking I might get myself a pomegranate. I just get sneers.
Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and I'm with Emily Dean and with Alan Cochrane. I like to do that at the top of the hour.
Nice.
People might just be tuning in now, you know.
Very slickly done. Very
Thanks.
professional.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, Frank, I was reading The Economist the other day.
What?
Hold on, let's get back on my chair.
I'm not just a pick-me-up slash chat kind of girl.
No, I wonder where you were going with that one.
Slash that you said, yeah.
No,
No, but I came across a very
you're a
interesting...
fiercely intelligent woman.
Thank you. I came across a very interesting article, Cockrell, about Americanisms. And it was to do with... Because I'm quite fond of the odd Americanism. I added the ism in there.
You were going to say the other American, yeah.
But it had a poll asking what were the kind of British people's top Americanisms that they'd incorporated into their speech.
Yeah.
So, sidewalk instead of pavement.
I've never heard any
No.
British person say that ever.
No, me neither.
Apartment instead of flat. I do that.
I have to say I have moved to apartment
Have you?
from flat. Because apartment, I live on the 11th floor, apart from those below in a way. So apartment feels right for me. Flat has never worked for me. The whole thing about flat, it's the very opposite. I find flats, if anything, they protrude.
Yeah.
They're
Also-
not flat at all. Bungalow should be called a flat.
Yeah.
Flat sounds where Britain's fattest man would live. I don't like the sound of flat.
Yeah, all Britain's flattest man.
Which he certainly isn't.
No, he certainly isn't there.
And
I
also-
don't know, he's got some good spreadage when he lies back. It's like when you get, I imagine, you know when you get a not very fresh egg and you put it in the frying pan, it goes out quite a way to the ends.
Oh.
I imagine that's what he's like as he
Spread-eagled.
Yeah.
Some people also admitted to saying I'm good over I'm well. So if you say, how are you? I'm good. Do you do that, guys?
Well, you see, if someone says to me, how are you? I always say, what am I, a doctor? And then it gets a bit awkward. I hate being asked how I am.
Like an old Jewish comic. What am I? Chopped liver?
Who is this guy? Sinatra?
Try the pork. No, don't try the pork. So, yes. I never say I'm good, though. I'll tell you what I do say. Instead of cutlery, I say eating irons, which is something I heard in a cowboy film.
It's extraordinary.
My brother-in-law says that.
Have you got any eating irons? And
Well, you know another human being that says that.
Yeah, yeah.
Brilliant.
Eating irons.
I do say hey instead of hello.
Oh, do you?
I know, I'm sorry, Alan, but I think it sounds a bit more friends and like I'm sort of pleasantly extrovert.
Do you ever say yo?
No.
Oh, I say yo in email and text form quite often.
Do you, ironically, or?
I think it starts ironically, and then before you know it, you're just doing it. I think that's the problem. I also still say, what's up?
You don't.
I do, I genuinely do.
I'm afraid you're fired. I think you can only work on Capital Radio if you say, what's up?
Well, I hear there's a gap.
There is. Yes. Yeah, you'll be sadly missed. Can I say, I think Johnny Vaughan's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we've chatted about that, haven't we? He's great.
Absolutely brilliant.
Flat sounds so common compared to apartments, someone has texted in. The latter is elegant, the former is inhabited by peasants. I am not a peasant. From 754.
Hold on, 754, isn't that your number, eh? Don't sneak them in on the side. One of my favourite... This was said by an American. I don't know if it actually qualifies as Americanism, but I interviewed Patrick Stewart, from
Murfield, West Yorkshire, Patrick Stewart.
That wasn't how I was going to describe him. I was going to say that Captain Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, but anyway, I said, are you going to do any more Star Trek films? And he said, no. He said, we had a meeting with the guy from the film company, and he said that he felt that Star Trek had franchise fatigue. Which, let's face it, we all get in the end. I've had it since about 2002.
Yeah, about then I think it set in.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, though.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's brought me here, where I'm very happy. So, is there any Americanisms our listeners like or dislike? Is there any? I mean, I'm all right with them. I like all sorts of wild and wondrous language change, so I'm okay with it.
Call us on our cell.
Yeah, you can call us on our cell, exactly. We're on 8, 12, 15. And I know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do that most fabulous of all things. This is something I look forward to saying. I'm going to play a track from the new Fall album.
Oh.
And this one might surprise you a little.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
What else?
Well, it's interesting that you adopt an American accent, because we were talking about Americanisms that we don't like.
Or like,
that's true. Matt says, hi Frank and co. Oh, a little bit American. I utterly despise folk who insert the word like after like every word for like emphasis. Like,
Is that American, though?
Yes, it is. It's very American. That's Matt Richmond from work at Like the Natural History Museum.
Oh, okay. Well, you do the Matt.
We've got another one. One Americanism people should be hung, drawn and quartered for saying is step up to the plate, or any sentence including that phrase.
Hung, drawn and quartered is nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's very British.
That's from Oliver Cromwell.
Yeah. It's a baseball term to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
That was from 829. And there's another one...
I wonder how he is with touch base.
Yes.
I intend to find out. 437.
Pushing the envelope.
Ever seen a jockey with a moustache? Jungle Willie, the small guy with knees and pert breasts, never sported a tash. Why? Jockey tradition and etiquette. That's from 437.
Yeah, I've never seen a jockey with a moustache. I was, in case you've just tuned in, I was speaking earlier about Willie Carson's, I have to say, quite pert breasts. Yeah, I'm hoping when he rode all those winners, he wore a good sports bra.
His moobs.
He'd have been in agony.
186 has texted, I hate it when people at the bar say, can I get a drink? Yeah, that does annoy me, actually. Can I get this? Can I get that? You think, no, what you say is, please may I have?
Okay.
Old school English manners, isn't it?
Fair enough.
It's confusing, isn't it?
Can I ask another I'm a Celebrity question?
Please do.
Lorraine Chase, who, I don't know, is maybe in her 60s now?
She's 60, actually.
Okay, Lorraine Chase, still, she looks... Anyway, she looks fine. She, her specialist, luxury item was a teddy bear.
Oh, God.
And I thought, well, I'd be a bit afraid of sleeping in the same jungle camp as a 60-year-old woman with a teddy bear, because I think we're all going to wake up murdered. if you can wake up murdered. But then I started to think about, I still have... my own teddy bear, Little Ted, from my childhood, which actually belonged to our Nora before me. It's quite an old teddy bear. And I don't coddle him anymore, but he's sitting on a shelf. And I thought I wouldn't want to do any damage to little Ted, you know what I mean? Although I know in my heart of hearts it's an inanimate object, I couldn't bring myself to throw it up the wall, for example. And then I thought, could I do that to any teddy bear? And then I asked myself, could I lay a teddy bear on a chopping board and knock a nail through its face? And I thought to myself, you know what, I couldn't do it. Even though I know it's just, cotton or even synthetics. I could not knock a nail through a teddy bear's face. And to me, that's how you judge whether you're civilised or not.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.
Frank, we've been getting texts in on 8:12:15 this morning.
Tremendous news.
Some people citing Americanisms they don't like.
Okay.
Some people talking about cheap food. Guess which one the cockerel prefers. Jace says a fried bread butty must be quite cheap and carb friendly, or a dandelion sandwich.
Oh, I like the fact that he's finding his dinners.
Found food. Found food is good. I tried dandelion once because my rabbit ate it with such gusto. You can tell how long ago this was. My rabbit was called Chubby Checker. But it was bitter in the extreme, dandelion.
Is it?
It's odd, because dandelion and burdock, the popular soft drink, say popular, is lovely and sweet. But they know the white milky stuff that, when you snap a dandelion stalk and you get that white... That's
anaesthetic looking, I know.
Oh, God, that's bitter in the extreme. Little warning there on Absolute Radio. In fact, the Absolute Radio network in general.
Karen, we used to have sugar sandwiches. That's not an announcement, that's just...
Oh, I thought that was her surname. I thought she was one of the... what was that bouncing African tribe called?
The Maasai.
The Maasai. Didn't they have names like that?
Yeah. We used to have sugar sandwiches.
Sharon, Is it Sharon?
Karen.
Karen, we used to have sugar sandwiches. Yeah, I think I had sugar sandwiches. My dad used to have cake sandwiches.
Cake sandwiches?
He felt that fruitcake was
was your
a
dad
bit too much of a muchness. So he used to put it on bread and butter to take the edge off it.
Oh, goodness. Every day was Boxing Day in your house.
It certainly was when he was drunk. Oh, sorry, I see what you mean, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Frank, you were also talking about... You made a reference to eating irons earlier.
Yes.
Oh, people love the eating irons.
They do, don't they?
It's.
I think that's an old cowboy term.
Well, I thought it was just an old mannish thing, but it's somebody's put more colourful is gobbling rods. That's something else you could say, or scran spanners.
Scran spanner sounds very English, though, doesn't
it?
I'd never heard that expression until Chrissy in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here used it. She went, "Hey, the scrans arrived!" And then I realised that means tea, does it? Does that mean just like
Scran
food?
is a bit of food, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Chris Rock, he's gone. What's happened to him?
Looks different. Looks really different.
Looks terrible. Looks as if like he's literally a ghost of his former self.
He needs to cut down on the fags as well.
Who is Chrissy Rock?
Yeah, I've been wondering that.
I don't know. I think...
See, I could knock a nail through her face and think nothing of it. That's one of the weird contradictions, isn't it, of how you decide how civilised you are. But I don't know. I feel I should know her, but...
I believe she's in Benidorm.
Oh, is she?
I thought she was in the jungle. Hey!
Well, I can't believe how sharp you were on that occasion.
How pat, I like to say.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
158 has texted in. Strange, I was just talking about dandelion and burdock earlier. I love it when conversations overlap, when you hear something on the radio that you'd been talking about. A friend of mine once tried to buy some when drunk and asked for dandelion and diddly-dock.
Any luck? Did he get any?
I think so.
Oh, that reminds me of my days when as a child, I used to call pomegranate a granny hoppet.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's a nice little R from...
It's a touching moment. You've been bonding since
Cockerel Jr.
opinionated.
used to say Peschetti instead of spaghetti. Peschetti, couldn't say spaghetti.
And that's the past tense, so he's now saying spaghetti.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can say it fine now.
He's growing up.
Yeah.
Now, Frank, can we have a bit of Berlusconi, a bit of a Berlusconi moment?
He's not growing up, I don't think.
Well, his political career may be in tatters, but his musical career... He's decided to release an album, hasn't he? Great timing, I thought.
He put it on the back burner because he was a bit busy the last few weeks. That's brilliant, isn't it? He's been a bit busy.
He's had a lot on.
He has had a lot on, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's an album of love songs.
It's a shame it's in... I assume it's in Italian, is it? So
yeah.
I'd quite like to hear it.
It's called Vero Amore, which I believe means true love.
He
knows a lot about.
He can sing, can't he? I think he was a singer originally.
I believe he was a cruise ship crooner.
Well, he works on it. He's got a friend called Mariano Apicella, who's a former car park attendant.
We all laugh. Former car park attendant?
Yes.
Well, I bet he's a good pointer.
It's a she, isn't it?
Oh, is it a lady?
They're
I think it's a
pointers.
man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe it's a man. But he said... Mariana said Berlusconi gets an idea into his head and we work on it a bit or throw it away. That's their sort of composing process.
Yes, good.
Like Elton John and Bernie Taupin.
Well, I'm guessing the mate, the former car park attendant, even at the writing sessions, he's wearing high-vis. Because that never goes away, that urge.
No.
Okay, well, I mean, in a way, though, you have to respect it. I can't imagine a British politician bringing out an album of love songs.
No.
Except perhaps Lembit Erpic.
Well, yeah.
He mightn't he?
Yeah, well, he'll be laughing on the other side of his face. Yeah. I could you imagine Ed Miliband's new album? It could be called Qatar Hero. No, but it wouldn't happen. They don't have enough go in them, do they?
Oh, Vince Cable with a love song. I'd love that. Some Ricky Martin covers. Vince Cable, Shake a Boom Boom. I'd love that.
Could happen.
Living La Vida Loca by Vince Cable.
I think we should try and start, these campaigns that they do where they go, oh, let's make Nirvana the Christmas #1 instead of a Simon Cowell offering.
Oh, yeah.
Berlusconi, surely.
Yes.
Surely, if enough British people buy it on iTunes or other reputable establishments, then it could go to #1. That'd be exciting, wouldn't it?
How does he do it, Berlusconi?
That's been well documented.
How does he remain sort of... people speak of him with a twinkle in their eye, the way they don't when they talk about Sepp Blatter.
Yeah.
But aren't they both just horrible, old, power-crazed blokes?
It is brilliant.
What is it that's sort of charming about Berlusconi? I don't get it.
Total lack of apology, isn't it? It's the sheer brazenness.
It's really... Also, why do people sing about love
all the time?
Oh, that's all people ever write about. Love,
no one's writing about
love.
Eating irons, are they?
This man has been a prime minister. He could have written a song about, like, when he met Sherry Booth.
The collapse of the EU.
Yeah, when the Queen told him off, when the Queen said, "Why is that man shouting?" That's what I want to hear.
I thought she was saying that about you, Frank.
Yeah, but why? Why do the people always have to love? God, if books, people write books about all sorts of stuff. They don't just write about love, do they?
Isn't it all about that in the end, though?
No.
Right.
It absolutely isn't. It's about stuff like... Let's have some songs about architecture.
Absolute Radio. Frank Skinner.
Frank, you were talking earlier about how you wish people would write more songs about subjects like architecture rather than love.
I did.
We laughed. We're not laughing now.
No, like Lembit Erpic. I'm laughing on the other side of his face.
Because Greg Bracken from London says, "Never fear, Frank, Paul Simon wrote a song about the architect Frank Lloyd Wright on Bridge Over Troubled Water."
Well, that is true, but can I say that beating Greg to it, Sandy Waugh put her head round the door, our newsreader, and pointed out that very fact.
She did.
Oh, she's sharp.
She's Pat.
Indeed, 829 has texted in, if you're after songs about architecture, I believe the last Bob the Builder album may quench your thirst. Good point.
Well, yeah.
Good point.
Does he do architecture as such? He's more repairs, isn't he?
It's more building, you're right.
I don't think he could put a house together.
We've had another text in, Re the Love Song, because this sounds a little bit... It's got a sort of slight Jacques quality. This is from 756. Some songs not about love. Starry, Starry Night, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Cherokee People, Taxman. I could go on and on.
Well,
you go.
I'm not saying there aren't one or two.
I like the fact that he's put, I could go on and on whilst in a text message where he couldn't go on and on. There's 140 characters in fewer, isn't it?
But yes, there are a few, but I still think when people think I'll write a song, their first port of call is always love.
One of my favourite texts that's come in today is, why do banks put so many serving windows in when they get refurbished? Have you ever been in a bank when all the serving windows are in use? Darren, Swanscombe.
See, that would make a brilliant song. that topic.
Yeah, get your guitar out, Darren, and let us hear it.
No, I'll be honest with you, Darren. I can't remember the last time I was in a bank.
No, it's all gone online.
I do it all on the wall. I don't go online, but I go through the wall. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I never go in. What do you go in for?
Go through the wall, Anton Dubek. Is it Del Winton who presents that? Ring on the wall.
Oh. Okay. God, I thought that was gossip for a minute. Thank God. Thank God there's a reference to a TV show.
Now, Frank.
Anton Dubek went through the wall. It's always a temptation.
Anyway, Frank, we need to talk about Emile.
Yes.
Great novel, that. No, we actually need to talk specifically about Emile Heskey's fiancée, Chantal. She burnt the dinner. Now, that may not seem like a news story to you, but what happened is that it actually set off the fire alarm in a house, which went through to the local fire station. So it did actually end up as this big news, doing a practice run Christmas dinner, which I thought was rather strange.
Hold on, she's doing a practice run.
And she'd set the oven to bake
People don't do that, do they?
She does.
Oh, they do, yeah.
They do a Christmas dinner practice run in November.
Some people do. Well, I suppose she didn't have to do it in November.
I think that's quite an insight into Emile, how he runs that household with a rod of iron.
When Emile got in that night, he had turkey, roast potatoes, pigs in blankets.
He had pork. She was cooking pork.
This is the weird thing.
There's so many odd things odd.
I mean, there's so many odd things about it. One of the weird things about it is that it's in the Telegraph. It's not a Telegraph story. How did it make it to the Telegraph?
Also, Frank, she had the setting on bake instead of roast.
That means nothing to me, can I say that?
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't want a footballer with the setting on bake instead of roast.
No, it's unusual.
That could have confused everything. No, but what I want to know is this a woman who you'd say, you fancy meeting up on Tuesday, and she's saying, I've got my Christmas dinner mocks?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that before.
I love the fact that the fire brigade, were called when she was doing a dry run. Yeah. I think that's what it was.
No, she's automatically connected to that. I mean, I'm very well connected in the fire service, but even my connections don't spread that far. The fire engine comes out the minute the smoke alarm goes off.
I've often wondered where if you have a burglar alarm in your house, I'm not saying I haven't, does that go straight to the police station?
Some of them, I think it does.
Yeah.
I believe.
What about mine? That's what I want to know.
We don't know.
I think mine just alerts me, and then you're on your own, Fred. Yeah, I don't think it goes directly through. What I would be certain of is I bet you Emile worked really hard to create some space for the firefighters, but never looked like putting the fire out himself.
Oh, Fred.
I heard he had to go on the hose and soak the house next door.
Emile Heskey had to go on the hose. I won't have it said. I will not have it said. Anyway,
I love that grimace the producer just gave.
It's one of my favourites. So, I think that's acid. I mean, coming up from... I don't mean she's taking... Oh. If you want to listen to Not The Weekend podcast, people do. People do. It's available from Wednesday for download. It's a completely separate bit of this, if you like. So it's... we sit in the studio and, this. Vicky Blight is next on Absolute Radio, and I'm going to play a little bit of goodbye music thing.
Are you all right?
I'm fine. I'll be all right in a minute. Just have you noticed fine trail of blood coming from the left ear? It's going to be okay. I'm having a bit of a Freddie Starr moment. I think that Sarah's chocolate biscuits have started to kick in. Sarah's our resident poisoner, you may know that. She's out to get me. So anyway, if the good Lord's willing, the creeks don't rise and I'm not poisoned, we'll be back this time next week. Ta-ra a bit.
Absolute Radio with Frank Skinner.